All right, this week we are going to talk about imposter syndrome.
What's that?
We'll find out in just a minute. But before we get started, today's featured channel is Nick and Greg. Nick and Greg, Rich says. Yes.
Yeah, Nick and Greg.
Nick and Greg. They're our good YouTube friends, and they are celebrating their 1-year anniversary on YouTube. So if you haven't already done so, make sure you check them out up above in the information or down below in the description.
Or on their channel.
Or
You
on
can
their
go
channel.
directly to their channel. It's nickandgreg.be.live.
YouTube.com/Nick and Greg. What the hell is nickandgreg.be.live?
It's Nick and Greg.
Okay.
Let's go.
Imposter syndrome. How do you interpret imposter syndrome?
I don't think it's open to interpretation, Jason. I think it has a definition.
What does it mean to you? What is the definition of imposter syndrome?
I don't know. Why don't you tell us?
For me, imposter syndrome is feelings of inadequacy and that I don't belong here, that I don't have what it takes to survive in a certain environment, or to, like, that I'm a fraud, basically.
Hey Google, what is imposter syndrome?
According to Wikipedia, imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern in which an individual doubts their accomplishments and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud.
That is what imposter syndrome means to me.
And that's exactly what I meant.
Oh, is it now?
I'm very verbose.
Do you experience imposter syndrome?
I do. I'm very verbose as a way of masking it. I will use big words and I try to talk around people, and not
You're quite
intentionally. Not intentionally. I just, like right now, I'm talking over you.
Not intentionally.
So I'm about to start a new job on Tuesday, which by the time you see this, I will
have been
already
last
started.
Tuesday.
Not last Tuesday. It'll have been
2 days ago.
I am incredibly excited about it, and it's exactly the kind of work that I've always wanted to do. Like, I enjoy being creative, and that's what I'm going to be doing full time now. It's going to be the perfect job. As far as I'm concerned, I absolutely aced the interview, and I did really well. But coming into it and coming into any new job or any new opportunity in life, I always feel like, hey, I don't belong here. You know, I always worry, you know, are people going to see me as a fraud? Am I going to be exposed? Am I really what people think I am? And then, you know, I feel like I really need to prove myself. So, I mean, tell me about your experiences.
My experience with imposter syndrome, anytime I apply for a job that's not in a retail setting, I feel like I'm not qualified to do it, even if it's something I'm totally qualified to do. Once I start working, it's fine. Everything's fine. Like, I just started a job. And I was like, oh, I can't do this. It's like art and science, and like, I don't know what I'm doing. And like, I ended up working with like a bunch of like college freshmen, and they're like, oh, I've never had a job before.
And by the way, looks like he's 21, so he totally fits in.
Yeah. So I work at this art gallery kind of thing, and they're doing an open call for artists for the next exhibition. And they're like, oh yeah, you should like enter a piece. And I'm like, no, I'm not like an artist. Like, I can't do that. But like, I have this really good idea, but like, who am I to apply for this thing? I'm not an artist.
But everybody's encouraging him to. I'm encouraging him to, and I think you should go for it.
It's a vending machine.
And I'm sure all of you would agree too. Go for it.
Okay.
So back before I got my new job, I applied for and was accepted into a master's program at my alma mater, which is where I was working at the time, and I would have gotten free tuition.
Free tuition.
And
Free.
At first I was really excited about it, but then the more I thought about it, the more nervous I was getting. It had been more than 10 years since I graduated from college. Yes, I'm old. And, you know, I felt like, am I going to be proven to be a fraud? Because it's been this long, I don't remember anything that I had learned back in college. Am I going to be able to just jump back into this experience?
If there's one thing I've learned in life, it's that frauds never get found out. You can do what the you want as long as people like you.
So anyway, ultimately, I didn't end up pursuing the program because I am now going to be working at another higher education institution and don't have the free tuition. But I ended up getting the job that I would have applied for with my master's degree anyway, so it all ended up working out. But I wonder, you know, how would I have survived within that environment, within the master's program? And ultimately, I think that I would have really thrived in it, because that same sense of feeling like I'm a fraud pushes me to work that much harder. When I first went for my bachelor's program, for my bachelor's degree in 2005, I felt that same sense of, you know, should I be here? Am I going to be able to prove myself? And it made me work that much harder, and I had fantastic grades and I did really well. So it imposter syndrome can actually work to your favor because it makes you work that much harder to prove yourself. And I think it'll be the same thing with my new job that I'm starting as well, and hopefully they'll be surprised and delighted by it, just like they are with you. I'm done. You can talk.
Thank
Sorry.
you for the permission,
Oh.
Your Majesty. So when I first went to university after I got my associate's degree, I transferred in with like 160 credits. So I'm technically a senior, but only technically a senior. So I always have to qualify that I'm not in any of like the senior level classes because I haven't taken any of the low level classes, especially to like business people. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, you're in computer science. You can like make all of this stuff, right? I'm like, no, I'm not in like those classes yet. And then also in a similar vein, I'm a game designer, but I don't do it on like a professional level, and I don't really have anything to show. Because people ask me what I do, and then I'm like, well, I design video games, but I'm not like really good at it. But I am kind of good at it. I don't know.
I've seen some of what you have done so far, and I've been duly impressed.
Well, thank you.
The game with the atoms.
Valence. So the valence electrons was the health, and it goes like this. And then you lose valence electrons, and then when you're out, you lose a life. And it goes down to the next electron shell. And then when you've depleted all of your shells and all of the valence electrons in that shell, it's a game over.
So anyway, if you're watching this, wish me well on my first week of my new job. And let us know how you experience imposter syndrome. Do you experience it, and how does it manifest itself? How do you deal with it and come out of it feeling like you're an accomplished person?
I think
you're
everyone
worthy of it?
experiences it. I think it's a very normal thing.
I think it's a normal thing as well, but I'd like to hear a little bit about your experiences as well. So be sure to let us know, and make sure to subscribe and like, and let us know in the comments as well what kind of videos you'd like to see from us in the future, or of course Q&A questions for future Q&A videos. That's all we've got for today, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Mundane that Jason says. It's our new segment. You gotta turn the flippy thing. Flip, flip, flip. On this week's Rich and Jason, we asked Google what imposter syndrome meant, and then Jason blathered on for 12 minutes. Enjoy.